You burst into existence as one of 300,000 siblings in a glowing snot ball. Your mom's idea of a nursery is a 10-meter-long mucus-coated egg raft floating in the midnight zone where the pressure could crush a submarine. Your first thought? Why is it so dark in here? Welcome to life 3,000 feet underwater, kid. The only light comes from your weird ant forehead flickering in the distance like a cursed glow stick. But hey, at least you're buoyant. You float in the open ocean like a discarded grocery bag, praying a jellyfish doesn't mistake your egg cluster for a kombucha SCOBY, or a tuna doesn't mistake your egg cluster for a sushi platter. Survival tip number 1, don't stand out. Too bad your entire existence is translucent and glows. By week 2, half your siblings are gone. Swallowed, poached, vaporized, and mom? She's long gone. Anglerfish parenting motto, may the odds be ever in your favor, but probably not. At 3 weeks old, you hatch. Meet you 2.0 version, a wiggly larva with the survival skills of a damp paper towel. You wriggle free, your tiny translucent body no bigger than a grain of rice. Hunger hits immediately. Where's the snacks? You scream internally. But the deep sea's menu is limited. Your first meal is Larry, the sibling next to you. Mom said sharing is caring. You rationalize, nibbling his tail. But survival math is brutal. 99.99% of you will be shrimp chow by next week. And did I mention that you're floating near the surface at this point? That's right, the surface. The part of the ocean where all the big fish with sharp teeth hang out. So now you're dodging predators left and right while trying not to get swept away by currents. It's like being thrown into a game of dodgeball where everyone else is armed with knives. For a few miserable months, you drift in the twilight zone, 200 to 1,000 meters deep, where sunlight's a myth and your neighbors include hungry squid, they'll swallow you whole, jellyfish, they'll sting you for fun, and copepods, they'll judge you silently. You grow at a thrilling rate of 13.6 centimeters per year, slower than continental drift, faster than your will to live. By month 3, you're the size of a paperclip. Your pelagic phase is like floating in space. No control, no snacks, and predators everywhere. By 6 centimeters long, you'll sink to the seafloor, trading your jellyfish-dodging days for mud camouflage. If, and that's a big if, you survive those first few months, things don't exactly get better. As you grow older, you start sinking deeper into the ocean. And I mean deep. We're talking thousands of feet below the surface, where sunlight doesn't exist and everything around you is pitch black. At this point, your body starts changing to adapt to your new home in the abyss. Your eyes get bigger so you can see in low light, not that there's much to see, and your body develops that famous bioluminescent lure, a glowing blob dangling from your forehead like some sort of creepy fishing rod. Sounds cool, right? Like you're becoming this badass deep-sea predator? Well, not so fast. Because here's the thing, food is ridiculously hard to come by down here. The deep sea is basically a barren wasteland where most creatures are either too small to bother eating or too big for you to take on without becoming dinner yourself. So, what do? You wait, and wait, and wait some more. Sometimes for days or even weeks at a time. And just sitting there in the dark with your little glowing lure, hoping some clueless fish will wander close enough for you to snap it up. And let me tell you, when food does show up, it's not exactly gourmet dining. You're eating whatever scraps you can find. Dead fish that have sunk from above, bits of plankton, maybe even another anglerfish if times are really tough. Yes, cannibalism is totally on the menu. At 5 years old, you're now anywhere from 8 inches to over 3 feet. Males are significantly smaller, and often much less than an inch. Now, here's where things get really weird, and honestly kind of depressing. See, not all anglerfish are created equal. If you're born female, congratulations. You've won the genetic lottery, relatively speaking. You'll grow up to be one of those big, scary-looking anglerfish with the glowing lure and sharp teeth. But if you're born male, oh boy, your life is about to suck even harder. Hunting is a disaster. You try ambushing a shrimp, but your tiny jaws snap at water. Maybe I'll just float here and look mysterious. You ponder, mimicking the adults. Instead, a gulper eel mistakes you for confetti and inhales half your siblings. You escape by darting behind a tube worm, questioning every life choice that led you here. Finally, at age 6 for a male or at 14 for a female, puberty hits like a submarine. Male anglerfish are tiny, like really tiny compared to females. and their sole purpose in life is to find a mate before your 21-day expiration date. That's it. They don't hunt, they don't glow, they don't even eat once they reach adulthood because their digestive systems literally stop working. So what do they do instead? They swim around aimlessly in the dark until they bump into a female anglerfish, which is no easy task considering how few and far between females are in the deep sea. You're basically a sperm-filled Roomba with a death wish. Gentlemen, you've found the one. A foot-long nightmare with teeth like shivs. Time to make your move. You chomp onto her belly and release an enzyme that melts your face into her skin. Congrats. Your eyes, fins, and organs dissolve. You're now a sentient testicle hanging off her side. The male basically becomes nothing more than a pair of gonads permanently attached to the female's body so she can use his sperm whenever she needs it. She might collect up to 8 of you. That's right. You're not just a partner. You're a Pokemon card. And if you think that sounds horrifying, well, yeah, it is. Imagine spending your whole life searching for love only to end up as an appendage on someone else's body. Ladies, you're now a girl boss with 24/7 daycare. Your mates are leaky appendages. Hungry? Lure a fish with your Eska, then gulp. Swallow it whole. Your backward-facing teeth mean escape is not an option. Okay, so let's say you're one of those lucky females who survives long enough to reach adulthood and maybe even snag yourself a couple of males along the way. Life must be pretty sweet now, right? Wrong. Remember how hard it was to find food when you were younger? Yeah, still a problem. Even as an adult, most of your time is spent sitting around in the dark waiting for something edible to swim by. And let's not forget about predators. Sure, there aren't many creatures big enough or brave enough to mess with an adult anglerfish, but every now and then some hungry shark or squid decides to take its chances. Plus, there's always the risk of accidentally swallowing something toxic, because hey, it's not like you can afford to be picky about what you eat. At 15 years old, you're a legend. Survived a cookie-cutter shark's drive-by nibble. Ate a fish so big, you napped for a month. Hosted 6 parasitic husbands, rest in peace Kevin, but the grind never stops. Your glowstick bacteria threaten to unionize unless you eat more krill. I'm a predator, not a Uber Eats driver, you snap. Meanwhile, Karen the Kraken, your cousin, just scored a 3rd husband. Show off, you mutter, regurgitating a toxic pufferfish. Every meal is Russian roulette. Miss your strike? Enjoy starvation in a pitch-black void. At 18 years old, you're cruising the abyss, a seasoned pro. Your lure's never been brighter, thanks bacteria, and you've perfected the art of floating menacingly. Life's not so bad, you think, luring in a plump lanternfish. Success! You unhinge your jaw, ready to feast. But wait, is that a second glow? A bigger, brighter lure pulses in the distance. Ooh, free snacks! You waddle closer, your tiny brain fogged by hunger. Turns out it's not a snack. It's Bertha, your 24-year-old aunt, and her lure isn't a dinner bell, it's a trap. Before you can flee, her jaws, wide enough to swallow a microwave, snap shut. Family reunion, she belches, digesting you slowly. The irony, you spent years avoiding predators, only to be eaten by the one creature who taught you how to hunt. If not for Bertha, you could have lived up to 25 years. But honestly, that's 25 years of pure nightmare fuel. Moral of the story is to never trust relatives with better glow sticks. But before you go, here's another animal that has it worse than anglerfish.